From the far reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, it's Retro Nerd Girl with a film review for you. Today, I'll be reviewing the movie Manborg, released in 2011, starring Matthew Kennedy, Adam Brooks, and Meredith Sweeney. Directed by Kevin Kostanski. The synopsis is a soldier brought back to life as a cyborg fights alongside a band of adventurers against demon hordes in a dystopian future. Now, before I get into the story details of the film, I'd love to share the story of how the film was made because it's a very unique independent film. The film is produced by Astron 6, a low-budget Canadian film company founded in 2007 by Adam Brooks and Jeremy Gillespie, known for black comedic 80s-centric independent movies. Matthew Kennedy, Conor Sweeney, and Stephen Kostanski were later included as equal partners in the company. Stephen Kostanski and friend Jeremy Gillespie came up with the idea to make Manborg while watching the movie Eliminators, released in 1986, about a cyborg pilot that teams up with an odd collective of heroes. Stephen even took the helm to direct, costing him approximately $1,000 Canadian of his own personal money. And he even called in some favors from his old high school teacher to borrow some light kits and other theatrical materials. As well, his mom bought and sewed together green screen sheets that he would need for the heavy use of chroma key in the film. So, with little money, a small cast, and a genuine love for 80s B action films, Manborg took about a year of filming, followed by 2 years of post-production. The story begins with a dramatic war between Count Dracula, who has risen from hell to take over the earth. Right away, the film sets up some wonderful emotions with Manborg and his brother. Everything happens quite quickly, but the emotional DNA is there. A young soldier fights alongside his brother in the last stand for mankind in a highly dramatic scene. His brother dies, giving him a photo to remember him, and a powerful but hilariously corny motto: "It's not about the killing, it's about family." And that is a sample of some of the dialogue, and I'll have to tell you, I'm absolutely here for it. It really parodies fluffy action films, turning the moral of the story into a tale about family. Just think about all of the modern day films that actually do this. It's a cheap trick that the film is pointing out, but at the end of the day, it still has meaning. It's a timeless plot device, if you will. It's seriously corny, awkward, and that's the part of the magic that makes me really smile while I watch this film. The soldier is terribly wounded and left for dead. We never really know his name, but a scientist by the name of Dr. Scorpius horribly outfits his body with technology, transforming him into Manborg. He wakes up several years later into a horrifying technological hellscape future and is captured by Count Dracula's goons to fight in a gladiatorial arena. While imprisoned there, he meets 3 renegades that eventually become, wait for it, his new family. I just love this movie. The film is actually really character driven and not really plot driven, giving nearly every character a detailed backstory or some unique outstanding quality. There is number 1, who is a martial arts expert who is forced to train the Hell Army. He is noble and he's obsessed with protecting a girl named Mina, even though she's fully capable of taking care of herself. It feels as if he was ripped out of the movie Enter the Dragon, released in 1973, perfectly outfitted with a vintage voice overdub. He's our perfect hero archetype. Mina is a knife-throwing expert who wears a purple wig reminiscent of anime characters, along with her own awesome anime sound effects and stings that are cued when she fights. She has her own private battles, which gives her a little bit more depth than you would ever think she would have in a film like this. Now, Mina's brother Justice is a laser gun expert who has such accuracy that he can shoot without looking at his target. He's a rebellious loudmouth with a Billy Idol kind of good looks, but not the charm, and a fake Australian accent that could be unlikable until you realize that he's covering up the fact that he sadly can't read. I think it's then that you kind of have a little sympathy for his character. There's a hilarious scene with Justice in a gunfight that is reminiscent to Moonwalker, released in 1988, where there's similar sounding music in the background while he dances. I thought that was an interesting little nugget right there in the film. When you think of the fact that Justice speaks with an Australian accent and his sister Mina doesn't speak with an accent, you wonder, oh, is this a mistake in the film? But no, it's actually, it isn't. This is a mistake made on purpose. They're doing this intentionally it's part of the humor of the film, from nuts to bolts. There's something funny about it to me. I know for some people it's too obvious of a joke, but for me, I thought it was entertaining. There's a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to the story with this ensemble of misfits, if you will, that kind of makes the film infectious to me. For the cost of the film, everything that's creatively done visually looks pretty outstanding. We talked about the use of green screen in the film, and the film boldly makes no excuses for being obviously artificial, but dedicated to holding true to this fantasy dystopian hell future. What may be a turnoff to some people is that it's very graphic in the gory department. They show some pretty graphic violence, and it may be a shock if you're not prepared for it. For me particularly, I felt it was appropriate for the tone of the film, and it could have reeled back a little bit, but it was okay. I didn't mind it that much. However, I know that it could be upsetting for some people. As well, there's some pretty cool masks and makeup to corroborate the story. Again, for the cost, I scratched my head really just thinking, how is this possible? This is really cool. And how are they pulling this off? Actually, since this film, Stephen Kostanski has been working steadily in the film industry as a special makeup effects technician and artist on projects like Hannibal the TV series in 2014, Crimson Peak in 2015, Suicide Squad in 2016, It in 2017, and Star Trek Discovery TV series in 2018. We're dealing with a highly talented professional who has a can-do attitude no matter what the budget is. Watching this movie is just like watching raw talent, And, we've got stop motion in this, which is reminiscent of RoboCop, Terminator, and some of the old Roger Corman movies, and again, that puts a big smile on my face. The gladiatorial arena fights reminded me of a cult B movie by the name of Arena, released in 1987, and that's a pretty good movie. Well, it's pretty corny, but if you've seen that movie, you'll recognize exactly what I'm talking about. And then there are some parts of the film where it seems a lot like Mortal Kombat from the 1990s, adopting some of the aesthetics and the cut scenes from other 90s video games. Very, very cool visuals. There's a lot of technical work done on this, but it also feels like you're watching your friends put together a play in their backyard with all of the trimmings of special effects and with a cinematic Saturday morning cartoons flair to it. The 1980s rock metal music makes it feel like an R-rated Power Rangers episode. I mean, it's so cool. Matthew Kennedy plays the lead character of Manborg, and I enjoyed the little nuances that he gives to the audience. His charming robot movements and tender moments where Manborg displays a little more humanity reminds me so much of RoboCop, and I just thought that he was delightful in the role. Co-founder of Astron 6, Adam Brooks takes on two roles as the many forms of Count Draculon and Dr. Scorpius, who I also enjoyed on screen. In particular, his portrayal of Dr. Scorpius had some serious gravitas, telling us the story of how it was he who let loose the gates of hell upon the earth and then created Manborg to destroy Count Draculon because he was the only human to face the Titan on the battlefield. It just gives you more backstory and more depth to appreciate the character. I mentioned Jeremy Gillespie before, who played Count Draculon's hilariously sensitive henchman, the Baron, giving the audience a few laughs along the way as he tries to find ways to impress Mina, who he refers to as prisoner number 7. But he says that in his heart, she will always be prisoner number 1. I just really love that humor, and it's just so well pitched for the situation. It's corny, but I love it. Jeremy also helped with the visual effects, and there's so much love and childlike excitement built into every scene. Now, what's missing? Well, there's no tension. Any chance of believability is completely lost, but that's the whole point of this entire exercise. The rough edges are supposed to be there, and not even the lowest budget could stop this movie from happening. And to be honest, it just feels so nice to see a movie that doesn't feel like it's trapped into making something that is homogeneously constructed to please the box office. There's no interference from the creative process, so it kindles a primal play space for the creators, and I absolutely love that. I am personally looking to make a project like this myself, and it's just seeing something like a movie like this just fills me with so much inspiration to know like it's possible to put together something like this without spending a lot of money and blowing your entire savings account on a movie, or begging everyone on planet Earth to make your little small budget movie. So yeah, in summary, okay, Manborg is a micro budget spectacle fantasy action packed into every corny thing that I've ever loved about cheesy action movies of the 1980s and the 1990s. They even add the same grainy textures to the visual display, like an old VHS tape. The film dives deep, wonderfully celebrating what it is. It's a homemade film with a lot of talent poured into it for fun, and it's beautiful. My rating is an 8. Well, that sums up my review. I hope you liked it. If you did, I have over 100 of these videos, so go on and browse the channel to see more reviews from me like this. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell icon to be the very first to be notified of my next video. This is Retro Nerd Girl signing off. Take care, movie lovers. I'm off to my next review.